Hi hooligans, today we are ranking every character from The Boys and Gen V. And by every character, I mean most of the important ones, because let's be real, there are a million bajillion characters from the Boys universe, and most of them are irrelevant. Also, we are not going to be talking about the new characters from Season 4, because Season 4 hasn't finished yet, and I do want to talk about Season 4 once it's all done. But for today, we're going to be talking about Gen V and Seasons 1 through 3 of The Boys. Okay, so let's go through my ranking system. Okay, so the first category is
absolutely diabolical.
So these are the characters that literally define the show, are absolute iconic. The show would be completely different without them. Next up are the baddies. These are some of my personal favorites. Next up are the characters that have potential. I might not like them as much as the baddies, but I recognize that they have potential and room for growth, and that they might be really cool characters later on. Next up are the mid as characters. They exist in the show, they're not bad, but they're also not that interesting. And below that are the boring characters. Sorry, not sorry. And the last category are the Robins. And I'm not saying Robin is the worst character of the entire show. I'm just saying that these are the characters that got killed off so fast that my brain cells didn't even have time to form an opinion. These characters got killed faster than A-Train could run. Basically, you blink and you miss them. Also, just in case you haven't seen The Boys or Gen V, there will be spoilers regarding certain deaths among characters. Okay, let's get into it. First up is Black Noir. Now, Black Noir is one of the most mysterious characters in the show. Like, he's really cool, especially his costume, but we don't know like anything about him, and he's really different from the comics, so definitely has a lot of potential in terms of storytelling. You know, he kind of died in season 3 and now he's getting replaced in season 4, so we'll see where they take the story from there. Next up is Stan Edgar. Now, I love Giancarlo Esposito, but I feel like his character is just like a less cool version of his character in Breaking Bad. And unfortunately, he didn't have that much screen time, although the times where he talked to Homelander, that was cool. But I'm going to have to put him under mid as because, I don't know, he just was not that interesting to me. Next up is Mother's Milk. You know, I want to put he has potential, but it's been 3 seasons. He's a main part of The Boys, and he just really hasn't done all that much. I mean, his family dynamic is a little bit interesting, I guess. He has a little more than, let's say, Frenchie got going on, but unfortunately I'm gonna have to put him under mid as too. Okay, next up is Cate. Now, Cate has one of the most interesting powers of the entire Boys universe, because technically if she gets her hands on you, it's kind of donezo. She can tell you to do whatever she wants to. Obviously, she has some limits to her powers since she starts like bleeding and getting headaches, but her villain arc at the end of Gen V was really great. One of the most interesting characters from the show, and I think she's definitely a baddie. Also, she's just like really scary. Like, if she gets control of like Homelander, it's over for everyone. And speaking of Homelander, now obviously he has to go under the diabolical category because he makes The Boys, all right? Without Homelander, there's almost no reason to watch it. Like, right? He is the main villain, what everyone is fighting against. He is the end game. Plus, Anthony Starr just does such a good job playing this character. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, I almost can't separate the actor from the character anymore because he just does such a good job embodying him. Also, an incredibly scary, insane, unhinged villain, and I do mean across like all storytelling. Also, Homelander just like represents The Boys. If someone has heard about The Boys, they've probably seen Homelander and know nothing else about the show. Okay, next up is Ashley, our corporate baddie. She is definitely a baddie. I love her. I feel really bad for her. She's just a girly that wants to work hard, get her bag, and call it a day, but she's just always stressed out because she is on the verge of getting killed every single day. I respect the hustle. And you know what? I hope she gets to survive through the whole show because she really deserves it, okay? Even though she is working for Vought, who is an evil corporation, you know, Ashley deserves to live, okay? Okay, next up is Robin, obviously going in the Robin category. She is setting the example for what's to come because the very first 5 minutes of The Boys, we get one of the most iconic scenes of her just getting completely splattered by a train, and there's gonna be a lot of characters like that. Okay, next up is Marie, our main protagonist from Gen V. I will also put her in the baddie category. I just think she's really interesting. She has a really cool power set. To be able to control blood to her will is really, really interesting, although I don't think she used it to her full potential. So I almost want to put her in still has potential, which she does, but I think she sold it to me as a character on Gen V, and I think she deserves the baddie category. Okay, next up is Frenchie. Obviously under a lot of controversy right now because of season 4, but we're not gonna talk about season 4. Let's just talk about his character overall through 3 seasons, okay? I really love Frenchie's character. Part of it is because he is French and his accent is just so cute, but I think I like him so much is because most of the time he is paired with Kimiko and their dynamic is great, but on his own, his story is just really weak, especially when he was dealing with that whole side plot about the mafia leader, that woman who was like trying to kill him. I don't even remember that side plot. It was very boring. So unfortunately, on his own, Frenchie is going to be mid as fuck. Next up is Popclaw, another Robin character, unfortunately, and also killed by A-Train. Next up is Emma, who is basically the Ant-Man version in Gen V, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to put her under boring, sorry. And it's because her story feels very similar to Starlight, who, you know, had this really strict mom and was trying to get her famous. So her story feels very familiar. I will say her one scene where she was kind of infiltrating that underground bunker when she became tiny, that was cool, but I think her powers are a little underutilized as of the moment. Also, her whole relationship with Sam just felt so forced, did not feel that chemistry at all, and she was just boring to me, sorry. Okay, next up is Kimiko. I freaking love Kimiko ever since she was introduced. She's so powerful. At this point, she's basically Deadpool, like she just cannot be killed. Also, it's interesting for a character to be completely silenced because she communicates completely through physical actions and her own version of sign language. She's super cute, but also super deadly. I think it's a really cool combination. And I would say she's definitely diabolical. Also, she just gives the boys, as in the team of the boys, such a huge power boost because she's the only soup next to Starlight. And let's be real, she's so much more powerful than Starlight. Next up is Kenji, which is Kimiko's brother. Unfortunately, he was a Robin as well, killed by Stormfront. It was definitely one of the craziest, brutalist death scenes. I think Kimiko's dynamic would have been completely different if he stayed alive, so I think his death was important, but he really did not get to do too much, and yeah, he became a Robin. Speaking of Robins, Translucent is another Robin, one of the first fallen members of the Seven, killed by Hughie, which is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, it was one of the first times a soup was killed and showed that they're not invincible. Next up is Sam. I thought that scene where he became a puppet and like killed a bunch of people and it was like puppet blood, that was really cool. But in terms of just his character, I don't know, you guys, I found him boring as well. And like, I just, no. Next up is Queen Maeve. Okay, she is really cool and kind of shows what the opposite end of the spectrum would be once you're like in the Seven, and was like there as an example for Starlight of what not to become. And obviously she's come in and saved the day multiple times, including, you know, kicking Stormfront's ass. I hope she gets the piece that she deserves, and she is an absolute baddie. I would almost put her under diabolical, but I just don't think she's quite at that icon level. Okay, next up is Stormfront. Now, I will put Stormfront under diabolical, and I do mean that literally. She is quite diabolical. I think she is one of the scariest villains. Actually, I think she is the scariest villain of the boys so far. I mean, she is literally a Nazi, pure evil. Every time she showed up, I got chills because I knew shit was gonna go down. Someone was gonna get hurt because she just does not care. She is willing to kill anyone, and she's smart about it. Homelander, you know, he's a little slow up there sometimes because he cares about the public image of himself, but Stormfront really knew how to, you know, get away with things, and she was scary because you know that she was like about to kill any person of color. She was about to kill anyone who was different from her. It was scary, man. Also really well done by Aya Cash, who played her. It could not have been easy playing like such a terrible person. Okay, A-Train is next. I think he has potential. Like, he's actually really interesting because he's almost on the good side. I want to see more of him. I think we will see more of him in season 4. Also, it's nice to see like a speedster character have like these heart limitations, because I feel like if that were translated in the real world, that totally makes sense for a speedster character to have like heart problems. Also, he has had some of the most brutal kills. I mean, killing Robin right off the bat, killing Popclaw, and then also when he dragged Blue Hawk like on the road and just completely rubbed his skin off. That was a crazy kill. I definitely like A-Train as a character, and I want to see more. All right, next up is Billy Butcher. I mean, kind of same reason for Homelander. He's definitely diabolical. He defines the show. I mean, if you have Homelander, you gotta have Butcher. He is the leader of the boys. He founded the boys. He is the yin to Homelander's yang. So much of what happens in the show is because of him. So obviously, he's going to be diabolical. Next up is Billy Butcher's wife, Becca, who she was killed, but definitely had a lot more screen time, a lot more importance than some of the other Robin characters. But that doesn't save her from not being boring, because she was very boring. I'm sorry if some of you guys liked her, but girl, no, she was really boring. I mean, I felt really bad for her because obviously of what Homelander did to her, and she has to take care of Orion, and she was like stuck in this fake house, and then she was killed and by her own son, no less. I mean, yeah, she has had a really tragic life, but does that make her not boring? No. Okay, next up is Golden Boy, or Luke something. I would say he was a Robin. Like, he showed up later in flashbacks and different visions and stuff, but he was killed off really early, and I still kind of think he might come back to life later on, because he just feels too important to be killed off that early. But as of right now, he was killed off super fast, so Robin it is. Okay, next up is Mallory. She is boring, sorry. Every time she shows up, I'm like, I don't know, I guess she is like important for like government infiltration because she's like part of the CIA or something, but yeah, she's just not fun to watch. Like, again, I also feel bad for her. Like, almost every character on here, something terrible happened to her, but still, she's just kind of boring. All right, next up is Andre. RIP, first of all. His character was like the Magneto version of Gen V, and I think he had a lot of potential. So I'm gonna put him at has potential, even though I think the show creators are going to just kill off his character in the show also, which I think is the right thing to do, to honor the actor. But his character definitely had a lot left to do, especially because he was dealing with using his powers more, which made him even more weak. All right, next up is Raynor, who Billy Butcher had like this fling with, and then her head got exploded. I think she was definitely more interesting than Mallory, as you know, in terms of a person in the government. I think she had a lot of potential, and if she wasn't killed, I think I would have rather seen her in place of Mallory. But her head got exploded, so she had potential. Next up is our good old boy, Hughie. I mean, he's really important to the show. He's supposed to be that goofy, relatable character that the audience sees themselves in, but I think they are running into a brick wall when it comes to his story, because besides being the normal kid, like, what else has he been doing besides making poor decisions under Butcher's guidance? I think he's pretty mid. Like, I want to say he has potential, but I really think they've kind of reached a dead end with him. Okay, next up is Lamplighter, who is yet another Robin, except this time he wasn't killed off by anyone, he just kind of decided to end himself. Next is Ryan. I get that he's supposed to be really, really important, especially going forward in season 4. Also, of course, he's this really important thing for both Butcher and Homelander to be fighting over, but I feel like Ryan's more of like a plot device for Butcher and Homelander more than anything else. And, you know, I don't find him very interesting. Maybe in season 4 he'll prove me wrong, but for now he's kind of mid. Okay, next up is Starlight. I think season 1 and season 2 did the best job at setting her character up. I think unfortunately her character's also starting to hit a brick wall, but I do think she's interesting. She's had a lot of character development compared to other characters, and I feel like it's wrong to put her in mid or has potential. So I'm going to put her under baddie, but like reluctantly put her there. Okay, Soldier Boy was a really cool introduction in season 3, especially as a counter to Homelander. It's kind of too bad that he did not have that much screen time at all. I really hope he comes back in the future, maybe even in season 4. So I'm gonna put him under has potential if he does come back. If not, that's wasted potential. Madelyn Stillwell, who was, I guess, Homelander's obsession in the first season, I actually thought she was a great villain. I think she showed that Homelander does have weaknesses and that he can be manipulated. Unfortunately, Madelyn did not play her cards correctly, which ended in her demise, but she had a lot of potential for sure. Okay, Victoria Neuman. When she was first introduced, I was like, who is this politician bitch? Like, what is she doing here? Why is she getting so much screen time? But then when it was revealed she was the head popper, I was like, so she is a soup. And then in Gen V, when we discovered that she has the same abilities as Marie, I was like, I'm getting the appeal now. I really get it. So it seems that she's going to be very, very important moving forward, and I'm okay with that because I like that she's playing both sides now, and she definitely is one of the most interesting characters going on. And I'm gonna have to put her as a baddie because I like what I'm seeing so far. Next up is Jordan Lee from Gen V, who powers I'm still kind of confused about, to be honest. Basically can turn into a male version and a female version, and then each version has like different sets of powers. Really, really interesting. I don't think they explored enough with what Jordan can do. I like their relationship with Marie right now. So I think it's fair to put Jordan under has potential. Okay, next up is Supersonic. Another Robin character. I feel bad for him again. And last but not least is our boy, the Deep. You know, he is truly iconic, but like not iconic in the way the diabolical characters are iconic. He's almost like on his own new level of icon status, next level of stupidity, of just unhingedness. And it doesn't feel quite right to put him in any of these categories. Alright, so that was my rankings for all of the characters from The Boys and the main cast from Gen V. Let me know how you guys would have ranked these characters. I'm sure you guys will let me know if I ruffled some of your feathers. But yeah, let me know if you guys want me to make an updated list once season 4 is finished. I also do want to make a season 4 review, so stay tuned for that. But that's all I had for today, so I will see you guys on the next video. Bye! Hey hooligans, thanks for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed that, make sure you like and subscribe and check out some of these other videos available right now.